Hey everyone, I have something really special to share with you. I'm hosting my first ever virtual tarot conference this summer that I know you're going to love. It's called the Summer Solstice Summit, and it's happening the weekend of June 20th. It's going to be a 3-day online gathering filled with tarot, astrology, shadow work, creative ritual, and all things witchy wellness. I've brought together 15 incredible presenters, folks I truly admire, ranging from therapists who are using tarot therapeutically to psychologists, astrologers, and of course, some of the most innovative tarot thinkers. All of these folks will be leading workshops and presentations designed to nourish your spirit and deepen your tarot practice. So, whether you're new to using tarot, especially as a tool for self-discovery and healing, or if you've been on this path for years, this summit is meant to meet you exactly where you are. And everyone is guaranteed to walk away with some healing witchy wisdom. I hope you'll join us for the Summer Solstice Summit. Go ahead and visit thetarotdiagnosis.com/summer solstice to get your weekend pass. You are listening to The Tarot Diagnosis. I'm your host, Shannon. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and I also happen to have a love for tarot. Each episode, I invite you to reflect with me as I work to demystify the tarot and the human experience, all while exploring tarot's connection to mental and emotional health. While this podcast may feel therapeutic, it is not meant to take the place of psychotherapy. So grab your cards and join me as I work to create a pathway to better understand ourselves and those around us. I have been wanting to do this episode for a long time. I honestly don't know why I haven't done it sooner, but it fits perfectly with my new monthly tarot therapy series that I just started this year. So we're doing it now. As someone who sits at the intersection of magic and logic, I like to compare the practice of tarot and witchcraft to psychodrama. And because of this, I often find myself returning to the work of Dr. Jacob Moreno. He's actually the founder of Psychodrama. And I turn to his work not just as a therapist, but also as a tarot practitioner, because there's just so much good theory and practice in his wheelhouse that it's inevitable that there's so much overflow between psychology, psychodrama, and tarot and witchcraft. And, you know, when Dr. Moreno created the psychodrama modality, he really wasn't just creating a therapy technique. And I often wonder if he realized just how much of a kind of philosophical, embodied craft he was, in the midst of bringing to life. Because this idea of psychodrama really emphasizes the importance of full, layered, and complex self-expression, as well as authentic creativity, especially when it comes to, and specifically, really, when it comes to the exploration of our human experience, our relationships, and everything that happens to us in this life. Moreno believed there was only so much that we could do with traditional talk therapy, which I totally agree with, and that psychodrama was kind of the solution to that, because it was a way to not only actively feel and express our feelings, but also process and reprocess them. What's really cool is that at its core, psychodrama is really just theater for the psyche. It's an active, engaged, personal storytelling experience that can really help us access deeper layers of self-awareness and insight than sometimes just traditional talk therapy can alone, because psychodrama creates a space for clients to externalize their pain, play out their desires, and then actively and physically move through any of the kind of unresolved blocks or difficult memories or confusion that can exist when we're doing this type of work. And it's all of that helps kind of facilitate this really unique sense of healing that can occur when we allow ourselves to be the main character, the director, the stagehand, the prop creator. There's so much that goes into this. So what does any of that really have to do with tarot and witchcraft then? Well, think about it. If you've ever lit a candle for someone who needed a little bit extra care or support, or if you've ever pulled a tarot card that made your stomach churn or your heart race, Or if you've ever cried while drawing a protection sigil, then you've already stepped into that territory of psychodrama. The concept and the experience of magic is inherently a psychodrama, because tarot and magic are, in many ways, the modern witch's therapy, just in the form of psychodrama. So when you think about what it's like to step into the world of witchcraft, to pull tarot, to engage in this, idea or concept of magic, we don't just think about transformation or change or healing. We actually stage it, we embody it, and then we work to become it. So that spell you did under the full moon about increasing self-compassion, that was a psychodrama. Or the tarot spread that you pulled about your relationship with your mother, that was a psychodrama. In fact, we can even think about the tarot spread itself as a stage for the psychodrama, because then, each card is a character in the play that we're reenacting about our own lives. Witchcraft and ritual operate really on the same principle. So, for example, a cord-cutting spell isn't just symbolic. It's actually theatrical with very specific intentions. In the case of psychodrama, you're both the audience and the main character. You are lighting the candles, you're tying the string, you're speaking the spell, and then, like a scene, as it starts to unfold and work its way towards that, kind of final climax moment, that's when the fire fully cuts the cord. And then the scene ends. And you have a very specific emotional experience from both the perspective of the director and the audience. And then, of course, the main character in the midst of it all. And while you are all of these parts, the actor, the director, and the audience, the props are the things like the candles, the string, the smoke, the tarot cards. And then the script is the spell, the mantra, or the interpretation of the cards you're pulling. All of these components become externalized manifestations of our internal world. And this is exactly what Dr. Moreno, the creator of psychodrama, meant when he said that true healing happens when we give our emotions form, when we give them breath, and when we give them body. When we move beyond just talking about them and instead interact with them, we give them life. And when we give them life, we can engage with them in more meaningful, deeper, healing ways. Another reason why witchcraft and tarot and ritual are forms of psychodrama is because they give us a language that isn't just bound by logic, which is actually really good because, for many of us, it's so easy to intellectualize our feelings and our experiences and then just get stuck in this, thought loop where we think we're processing, but we're really not. But these magical experiences that we get through witchcraft and tarot really invite us to reenact and reimagine, to cast ourselves as both the wounded and also the healed, or the protagonist and the antagonist, or someone who's seeking answers and also the person who's guiding you to find the answers you're seeking. Or maybe we're casting our younger self or our mother, our father, siblings, caretakers. The options are endless. I mean, even the act of pulling a card for insight mimics kind of a classic psychodrama therapeutic setup. I'll give an example. So in a psychodrama session, a client might say something like, "I just feel stuck. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm stuck." So instead of just talking about the stuckness for an hour, the therapist who's, functioning through a psychodrama lens might say something like, "Okay, well, show me what stuck looks like. Who's there? Where are you? What happens next? What sensations are you feeling? What emotions are coming up as you are moving around the room and showing me what stuck looks like?" The therapist might even encourage the client to even just like move furniture around the room or use props to express anything that they're a feeling, or to physically show and act out the sensation of being stuck. And with tarot, we do the same thing. We ask the cards, what am I not seeing? What's holding me back? What wants to emerge? And in the process of this and pulling the cards and asking the cards, we may have engaged in some sort of scene setting. Maybe we lit some incense or recited a mantra or shuffled the cards. Even just shuffling, it is a psychodrama experience. And then after we've pulled some cards, we may even rearrange them. We might hold two cards next to each other and look at or ask or be curious about how they connect visually or what it would be like to even step into those cards. And as we're doing this, we might even embody the cards. There's so many great exercises out there. I think Mary Kay Greer talks about one where you actually step into the card and you're in the scene. Oh my God, if that's not a psychodrama, I don't know what is. And with tarot, the psychodrama outcome of all of this is that we are given a scene to explore, to move around in and be curious about in a way that maybe we couldn't have if we didn't have a tool like tarot or witchcraft, for example. And in fact, so going back to this concept of witchcraft specifically as a psychodrama, we can even look at altar creation as a really important therapeutic intervention. Because altars are inherently stages. I mean, they're usually set up on some sort of flat surface and things are placed neatly and specifically. They're even kind of living shrines of our intentions, our hopes, our love, our grief, our vulnerability, our sadness. And everything placed on the altar is kind of representative of our own characters in some way, our own inner parts. It's because it's our own personal psychodrama. So, for example, something that you might have on your altar is a black candle, and that black candle might represent your grief. Or maybe you have dried rose petals and those represent your ancestors, or a vial of black salt, which, oh my God, that represents your personal boundaries. And think about how you might use black salt in a spell or some candle magic, physically, representing a circle of protection, a boundary, because you're encircling a particular candle with this black salt. This is all you composing a scene that's making your internal, which is also invisible, your invisible emotions, your internal emotions, actually visible. You're creating a tangible representation of these while also acting them out. And then when you interact with all of that, when you light the candle, when you whisper a spell, when you even just rearrange the items on your altar, you're helping yourself to process or reprocess or heal or even just nurture and tend to your psyche. Throughout my career, some of the most impactful, powerful sessions have been psychodrama sessions. And I'm really grateful because in grad school specifically, a lot of my supervisors in my internship were really gravitated and leaned into psychodrama-esque interventions and modalities. And so a lot of my foundation has been built on kind of embodied work, which makes so much sense that I love tarot and now talk about tarot as a therapeutic modality. Makes so much sense. But yeah, some of the most impactful sessions I've had have been psychodrama sessions. And it's when I've given clients permission and encouraged them to assign symbols or objects to people, places, or even different parts of themselves. There were times when I'd ask clients to place these symbols or objects in the room, like on the couch or under a chair or on a windowsill, wherever they felt those objects needed to go based on how they related to the person they represented. The person, the memory, the thing, the place, it could be anything. The options are endless. And without saying a word, a client could show me so much, like how far they felt from their mother if they needed to place the object that represented her behind a bookcase, completely out of sight, or how close they wanted to feel to their inner child because, they were holding on to the stuffed toy that represented that on the couch next to them. And tarot and witchcraft do the exact same thing. They give us physical, visual anchors for that which we can't see. And often that which we might also struggle to even make sense of. And another component here is if you're someone who does shadow work, then you know that the act of shadow work isn't this kind of gentle, easy, polite, conversational exchange with yourself. It's often healed through actual interactions, through confrontation, intentional encounters, through embodiment. And there's usually a layer of rehearsal and ritual involved as well. So if you think about it, shadow work is really pure psychodrama. We're inviting these unseen aspects of ourselves to step onto the stage, to be acknowledged, be interrogated, and then hopefully at the end of the day, integrated. We can even look at manifestation as falling under this category of psychodrama as well. Manifestation is similar because it's just like a script that we write for ourselves. Specifically, if we're trying to manifest something in the future, then it's a script for the next act. And, we know when we write down our goals, whether it's a spell, a journal, or a sigil, we're not just making a list of what we hope to accomplish and then, tossing it aside and never thinking about it again. I mean, yeah, sometimes that can happen, but I think it's important to realize here that when we are physically doing this, we're actually casting ourselves in some sort of future role, stepping into that scene that hasn't happened yet, but actually becomes more likely to happen because, we've acted it out. We've brought all of this up to consciousness and we're setting the stage for that future play. And in fact, the research backs all of this up. For example, writing down goals increases our likelihood of achieving them by like 40%, which is huge. And this is mainly because we're, again, externalizing our intent. And there's a lot of really great neuroscience research behind that, which I've talked about on the podcast before. But, essentially it just helps to bring the story and the desire and the thoughts out of our head. And we're kind of bringing them into form and it makes us more likely to achieve them because we're more aware of them. And that's psychodrama. That's magic. And when we engage in these practices, tarot, manifestation, ritual, witchcraft, we're really entering into this kind of sacred space, this kind of like coveted internal theater, psychic theater with ourselves, where we're able to cast our unconscious parts into our personal limelight. And, we're able to rework narratives beyond just thinking about them by actually enacting them and manipulating them and transforming them and being curious and creative with them. So I want to take a minute to talk about how we can really lean into tarot as a psychodrama, specifically through a psychodrama exercise known as the soliloquy. In the theater world, a soliloquy is when a character pauses the action and then speaks their internal thoughts out loud, like as if nobody's present. So yeah, you could probably see how this would lend itself nicely to a therapeutic intervention. In a psychodrama, it functions similarly by allowing clients to pause and verbalize what they're thinking, feeling, sensing, or experiencing specifically in that exact moment. And then, of course, without needing to filter or censor themselves. And the experience of a soliloquy is like opening up some kind of like psychic window into our inner world. And then again, offering this raw, vulnerable, completely unfiltered moment of like personal reckoning, personal truth telling. So yeah, let's talk about how to do this with tarot. So I want you to think about a specific issue that you might be dealing with. And if nothing comes to mind, then you could even just pull some cards and see what comes up for you. But first, I'm going to set the stage. And yes, pun absolutely intended. So grab your tarot deck and start shuffling. And I want you to imagine yourself on a stage. No one's watching. It's just you and the cards and an empty theater. And you're about to monologue your soliloquy. So and I want you to let the cards kind of be your guide here for your lines, for your script. And you could even take this an extra step further and really embody the concept of psychodrama by physically standing up while you're doing this, maybe even walk around. Think about how I mentioned earlier, you might even want to place a card, in certain areas of the room around you. So once you've finished shuffling, I want you to pull 3 cards. And you're going to pull 3 cards to the following prompts. The first prompt is, what have I kept inside for too long? Prompt 2 is, what fear or belief has kept me from sharing this? And prompt 3 is, what shift might occur if I give voice to this? So remember, these cards are your guides to help you write this script and speak this aloud. You don't have to take them too literally. And as you're doing this, you should also be paying attention to and speaking about, again, out loud, any sort of sensations, emotions, and thoughts that are kind of bubbling up for you as you're speaking the soliloquy of the cards. And yeah, again, place the cards in different locations. You might even want to find different objects that are catching your attention, that as you're thinking about what you've kept inside too long, maybe look around your room and think, what could represent this thing that I've kept inside too long? And start placing objects and have fun, enjoy being on the stage. And please send me an email or a DM or a comment on Instagram. Let me know what this was like for you. Let me know if you loved it, if it was confusing, or if you hated it. I want to know. And remember, Moreno believed that creative expression was the key to healing. And I mean, what is tarot? What is witchcraft if not creative expression? So light the candle, pull the cards, speak the spell, play your part. Because you're not just a practitioner, you're a protagonistic healer in this unfolding live action psychodrama of your life. And yeah, the stage is yours for healing. Thank you so much for listening to The Tarot Diagnosis. For more tarot and mental health content, follow The Tarot Diagnosis on Instagram. You can also subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode, and sign up to receive the Tarot Diagnosis emails, where you'll have access to exclusive spreads and exciting announcements. To join an incredible community of tarot and psychology enthusiasts, join the Tarot Diagnosis membership community, The Symposium, by visiting thetarotdiagnosis.com.